Good afternoon. I am Bertrand Cambou, and I'd like to first thank AAAS and Lemelson for inviting us in this program. It is very humbling for me to be in this room, in this museum, and with these associations of incredible people that you just are listening to. What I like to do is to share with you my current research work. And I'm currently working on cyber protections of life-saving assets with nanomaterial. And the importance of cyber security to life-saving assets is just the beginning of the beginning, if I can say. The problem is growing. As you know, now we have in the medical field pacemaker, a sensor, a lot of environment that hacker can get in and create damage. And this is going to be worse when you have here, like the person here, the person connected to be able to just move. Transportation, self-driving car. Older people need a car, and they cannot, potentially they cannot do it alone, which means the ability of hacker to take over a car, brake, and so on and so forth is a current reality. And many others here. Which means there is no need to explain the problem. I'm sure you have it. Now the question here, why is it so difficult to block cyber attack? After all, we are talking about that as being a national issues. We hear about all those breaches. One of the fundamental reasons is learning from past breaches will not prevent future breaches. And I want to quote here, I'm currently a professor, but I am assigned to work for the Cybersecurity Command of the Air Force. And the chief scientist told us that there are about 1 million new malware born every day. And this is just not anymore the college kids trying to play. It is organized crime, organized government, people working, thousands of people breaking the things. Worms can be planted dormant for years. Now, one of the biggest issues we have right now, most cyber security solutions are based on fixing previous breaches. Just to take my French origin, you probably learn on a military standpoint about the line Maginot. Essentially, after the First War, the French built the most impressive defense chain that you can even dream of. And Hitler army decided to go around it through Luxembourg and Belgium in the Ardennes and wiped the entire defense in a few days. Well, right now, if you assume that you are in good shape because you are buying the new antivirus, if you are putting a firewall, if you are using machine learning, which is a great tool, but machine learning is essentially learning from the past. And you are in trouble. And quite frankly, the rate is just staggering. If you go to corporations or government or whatever, there's a mindset that breaches are due to lack of training and people not following policies. And in due respect, this is all wrong. Because, of course, you have to do that. But if people arrive with new attack, this is a line Maginot all over again that we have to face. Now there is another threat, and this is from the physicist. It's a quantum computer. And the quantum computer essentially are going to destroy cryptography as we know it. Now what is cryptography? From the Greek crypto, hiding, and graphy. This is essentially the art of communicating data and to encrypt it to make it invisible. And the methods are based on mathematical equations that quantum computers are going to destroy. And right now, nobody knows the state of the quantum computer because it's classified. And you can essentially think what you want, but there is a kind of a line of agreement that quantum computers are either exist or will exist. And as a result, you can say bye-bye to the security of your banking card, of all type of access you have, and so on and so forth, which is quite a frightening environment right there, which means we need to take at a new look. And I am a physicist, and it turned out that there is an area, and many of my partner here at AAAS has been talking about nanomaterial, nanotechnology. Ben was talking about that and for his fighter. Well, when you essentially want to create microelectronic devices, we are now getting to the point that we're reaching the nanomaterial limit. Now, there is a bug here for the one here. It's a nanometer is 10 minus 9, not 10 minus 6. For all the students in the room here, I don't want to let it go. But nevertheless, there is an expectation here that when you get there, each component in your cell phone, in your computer, they're all different. Because when you do the manufacturing, you get to the atomic layer. And you can actually essentially differentiate each of them differently, which means that the axe of research that we are currently conducting is a twofold. It's first of all to look at the fingerprint of all the electronic that is out there. And this is essentially the result of the fact that when you do the manufacturing, you reach atomic layers, and the manufacturing processes cannot essentially guarantee that they're all the same. In fact, they're all different, largely different. And the second fold of our research work is actually to use this fingerprint for a new class of cryptography, quantum computer resistance, that is going to be ingrained on every component you have, your pacemaker, your self-driving car, your UAVs, and so on and so forth. And the axis of research of using the nanomaterials is very, very fascinating because the level of complexity is much, much, much higher without having any mathematical, in fact, we do use mathematics, but in addition of, not instead of. Now, the vision is the following here. And this is the visions, and this is what we're currently researching, as part of my university and as part of the government, is essentially to plant in any life-saving asset, any asset, the nanomaterials that we know, and to use a cryptography to secure the access and to be sure that the communications between the two is essentially relying on that level of randomness. And you have here the case, and essentially the research work is very disruptive because the level of complexity is simply much higher than everything else that has been done before. And then when you do the manufacturing of new component, they become more complicated than the previous one and more different than the other one, which means that the trajectory of the advances in microelectronics is going to make the approach even better. Now, is it easy to extract those fingerprints from materials? It is not. Now let me give some ideas, and this is actually a good thing. If you want to read, let us say, the fingerprint of your finger, you are going to need, I'm going to use a term here, which is a nanojoule. Now, a joule is about 1/4 of a calorie, and we are currently developing with, and that's a fingerprint, we are currently using methods that use less than 1 million less power than you currently need on traditional fingerprint, because there is another area here. People say, well, we're going to put biometry here, which is essentially finger, iris, all of those kind of randomness, like the brain, like all those kind of things. Problem, the power is so high that hackers are going to be able to find it on you when you essentially get to an authentications, which means that the nanomaterials that we're working on are let us say, millions, require millions less power in such a way that the hacker cannot even see anything. And that is the excitement. It is also the complexity of the research work. We currently have the support of Arizona Board of Regents. We have 3 universities involved, my university, NAU, Arizona State, and University of Arizona. We have 11 faculties, 20 students. In the last 18 months, where they started the program, we filed 15 inventions, almost once a month. And this is accelerating. And this is methods to develop those devices, to develop the cryptography behind it. And now we're getting support from industry. We license our technology to 5 industries already, and are working with government, which means the objective is to very quickly turn this research work into reality and to start the deployment to protect life-saving assets here. We think that this is, we're extremely excited by the work, and it's extremely also multidiscipline, because we need the physicist from the nanomaterials, we need the mathematician for the cryptography, we need the electrical engineer for the component, we need the computer science for the crypto system and backbone, and that's why we have this team together here. And that's it. I think I will take questions during the break, and thank you for your time. It was a pleasure to share my work.